You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode. On this podcast, we explore all topics of interest for professionals who are at this intersection of public health and entrepreneurship. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I'm really excited that you've decided to tune in to this episode. Whether it's your first time tuning in or you have been listening for a while, I really do appreciate your time and attention. I am a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in healthcare and public health, and I've supported a lot of entrepreneurs along the way. I've also been podcasting since 2017. So although this podcast is relatively new, it's not my first podcast and it's not my first time on this mic. I love this platform. It's a great way for me to connect with a lot of you who are so far away from me geographically, but this podcast brings us close together on a common topic like entrepreneurship. On this episode today, I want to share with you why you need to use a scheduling tool. So let's dive into it. I believe, and I want you to embrace this, your time is valuable. Whether you are, it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, really, from thinking about entrepreneurship to being in this for a very long time. We're all very busy people. Our time is valuable. So as an entrepreneur, it's important for you to focus on when you're thinking about your business and in this direction, your time, every bit of your time is ultra valuable. So you want to maximize your time as much as possible. I think a scheduling tool is one of the best ways for you to do this. And let me share with you my favorite scheduling tool. And we've been using this for many years. Since I've been podcasting for so long, we use scheduling tools when we are inviting guests to join us on a podcast episode. We send them a link. They get to schedule, pick the time for my availability, and that automatically creates the invitation. It's when it was just me and one assistant, it was an essential tool for us. And now that I have a much bigger team, it is still a very valuable tool. It saves us so much time. So that person gets to get scheduled. We have some automations in place. It gives them all the information we need. They show up on our calendars and they have all the information. So by the time I'm interviewing my guest, even my longer standing podcast, and even with this podcast, we use the same automation. By the time I get to that meeting, the interview, I have everything I need in front of me. The guest is ready because we've shared everything that they need, and it's high value time. And I want you to embrace that. You don't have to think about just podcasting. When I was coaching, I used this automation as well, because when I worked my full-time job and I was building my business, it was important that I wasn't just stuck at the desk all day and then all night, all day on my full-time job and then all night on my business. I needed to make sure that when I met with people, they had been through some sort of vetting process and it was a good use of my time and their time. So this is why I want to share it with you. So regardless of whether you're starting now, if you've got an established business and maybe you've had a system, sometimes the systems we start out with don't take us all the way through. We've got to revise them. And I'll admit, even the scheduling tool, although it's been the same tool, we've used different versions of this tool, different levels of this tool over the years. You may start out with something more basic to begin with, and then move up to sometimes even a free version of a tool, and then move up to maybe the first level of that paid service, and then move up for more features as your team and your needs grow over time. So let me just, if I haven't convinced you already, I think that using automation through a scheduling tool can just really help you protect your time, not just your time, but your client or prospect's time as well. They're showing up better prepared for that conversation with you, and you're showing up better prepared for that conversation with them. And it's a win-win. You can get right to the point and everyone feels, like it was a very good meeting. You know how you leave those meetings? It's like, yes, that's what I needed. Or you get your questions answered. You get the clarity, whether it's a free meeting or it's a paid session, whatever it is, a scheduling tool can really help you value your time. We use Calendly, and there are several really good options. So we started with Calendly. We really enjoy that tool. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that to share. It's just something that we've used for a very long time. And it's something we continue to use and we enjoy it. I know a lot of my colleagues have used different tools, but I can speak to that one. So I'm going to share a few things about this tool. And I know that the other brands, these other tools that are comparable can do the same things. So it's really just, it'll be a matter of preference. You can research all of them if you'd like, or you can just say, okay, well, she uses that, I'm going to use that. Or you can research and look at alternatives to Calendly and check it out for yourself, whatever the case may be. But if you're a coach, absolutely need something like this. If you're looking to, of course, podcasting, if you are a consultant and you have discovery calls or exploration calls or whatever you call them with potential prospects to talk about, what their questions are and see if there's an opportunity to work together, those initial calls, this is a great tool to use. So it's really advanced. I don't want to go too far down the weeds on this, but you can have different types of calendars depending on what it is. So for example, we may use it I'll go back to when I was coaching. I would have one calendar that was just for podcasts and, for my guests to schedule their time. And then I'd have another type of calendar that was just for coaching clients. And then I have even another one that was just for people that want to chat, those introductory meetings and you want to get to know someone, had separate calendars so that there wasn't any confusion. So all of these types of tools will have the ability to do something like this, or at least that's something to look for. Make sure that you have the feature or the ability to have different types of calendars depending on your needs. So you may be starting out and thinking, I only need one. I'm just trying to, schedule my coaching clients and sessions. Or you may be advanced and think, well, I could use, different types of calendars. So let me just share a few things with you. I think, like I said, there's automation built into the scheduling tool, and that helps you protect your time. You get to decide when to meet with people. So for example, I'll stick with my coaching example. I think that was a good one because I remember my working hours would end at, let's say, 3:00 in the afternoon. And I didn't coach every single day. I think that could be really a quick route to burning out, really. So be careful if you're doing that and being overzealous with it. Be careful if you're protecting your space. So maybe you pick Tuesday and Thursday from, my day would end at 3:00. So maybe 3:00 to 6:00, I'll be available to meet with people that wanted my coaching services. So I would set that availability on that calendar. So people, when I share the link and they look at my availability, only those 2 days were available and only those blocks of time. So those are the options they had. So you can ask questions in the scheduling process. So when you click, like say, if you look at my availability and you say, okay, well, Tuesday at 4:00 works for me. And you click on 4:00, well, then there's going to be a pop-up that's going to ask you a few questions as you enter your information in. You can ask questions. So maybe you want to ask a few qualifying questions, or maybe you want to ask something that will help you prepare for the meeting. You want to know what their burning question is, or whatever it is that process that maybe it's about your consult. Maybe it's a discovery call about your services. Maybe you want to ask them some questions and help you prepare for that meeting. So you can put that into that whole calendar section as they're scheduling to have them fill that in and prepare. You get to decide whether to charge for the meeting or not. As Tabitha Brown says, that's your business. You can decide that you're charging a fee for the discovery call or your car. If it's a coaching session, of course you would charge for that. Or you may decide not to charge. That's completely your decision. But if you decide to charge for the meeting, you can integrate that with your payment processing, whatever you're using for your payment processing service. So where you accept, credit card for payments. So you can integrate that into Calendly. So as I keep referring to Calendly, I really want to make sure that you understand that I am saying Calendly. It's not spelled like calendar. It's Calendly. So there's no Ley. It's Calendly, in case you want to look that up. So you can integrate your payment processing system with Calendly so that when they put their name and an email address, and after they selected that time slot, then and answer the question, it's going to prompt them for the payment, so that they go ahead and pay for it and then they secure that spot. It integrates with Zoom automatically. I use Zoom for all of my meetings. So it integrates with Zoom so that it automatically creates the Zoom meeting at the time that when they enter the information in, you answer your question, make the payment, it integrates with Zoom, or even if there's no payment, they skip that part. It integrates with Zoom so that it automatically creates the Zoom meeting. And then it sends the meeting confirmation email to the person who was, just scheduling with you, and then you get a notification. And in that email, it includes the link to the event. So you can add it to your calendar. Let's say that you schedule with me that 4:00 session for coaching and you pay the fee, you enter the information, you answer my questions, and then you hit enter. So it's processed, and then you're automatically going to receive an email in your inbox that says you just scheduled your coaching session with Dr. Huntley at 4:00 on Tuesday. And then it will ask you if you want to add this to your Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar or your Outlook calendar. It'll give you an opportunity to then click and add that meeting to your calendar so that the Zoom link to the meeting and all the details and information is on your calendar and you don't forget about it, and you get a reminder and it's right there. So at the time of the meeting, you just click to your calendar. I'm a calendar person. I follow my calendar closely. So I really appreciate this type of feature. And that keeps you organized, and it keeps you not having to go back and forth in emails. Those, what's your availability? I'm available this time. You go back and forth before you can pick a time. Then you've got to go in and manually schedule the meeting and send the links and do all those things. That's exhausting. And if you're doing that right now, I really encourage you to get a scheduling tool. It will change your business, your life, and take back so much more of your time and eliminate a lot of frustration. It may take you a few minutes to get it set up. You may have a little bit of a learning curve. Calendly was super easy for us. A little bit of a learning curve, but then once you set it up one time, you don't have to worry about it after that. You're just sharing the link to your calendar with people that you want to meet with and want to meet with you. That is the easy button all day long. Again, I love Calendly, but there are some other alternatives that I know my colleagues use and really enjoy. So check it out and find one that works for you. And here is the watch out. Here's a watch out I want you to keep in mind before I let you go. Once you get this all set up, it's great. I know a lot of people get excited about just throwing their calendar links around and you want to meet with people, but be selective. Be careful about who you're sharing your calendar link with, especially if there is no charge. If there's a fee, then that helps to kind of buffer out the people who really just don't want to work. They just want to take your energy and your time and aren't looking to pay for anything. But if you're using a free calendar link and a free opportunity to meet with you, don't just share that broadly, because you'll end up with a whole lot of people filling up those spaces, and those are valuable spots. You want to have some kind of vetting process there. Something where people cross over a threshold and you decide, yes, I really do want to meet with them. We need to continue this conversation. Those where you meet, you have a few, maybe you meet at a conference or an event, and there's some exchange that lets you know, well, there may be something there. There may be some opportunity to collaborate, or, you engage a little bit on social media and you decide you want to move that to Zoom. It seems to be something that's, worth your time to seek a little further. Those are the people you want to share your link with. I wouldn't post my link publicly and just say, schedule a call with me, because you'll have so many people taking up those few valuable spots, and then your ideal client won't be able to do so. So I hope this really helps you, especially those of you that are doing the manual back and forth scheduling. I know that sometimes I do that because I really don't have availability to meet as much as I used to. And even in this recent time, we've been so busy that I've had even more restrictions. I recently kind of passed over the scheduling to a team member so that I can get out of my own way. I'll tend to keep adding things onto the calendar and then I'm overwhelmed. So you really have to be careful about that. So if you're growing and you find yourself really just so many meetings and you can't get other things done, maybe, readjusting those boundaries, but that's a whole nother conversation, a whole different episode. We'll talk about that another time. Right now, I just want you to remember that your time is valuable. So value your time and really consider a scheduling tool for your journey here in entrepreneurship. Okay. Now, please do share this episode with someone that you think would find it valuable, some other entrepreneur in public health. That's how we grow. And it encourages us to continue to produce these episodes frequently and guide you on this path. So help us out by sharing this episode with your network and with other entrepreneurs that you know. Our website is publichealthentrepreneurs.com, and we'd be happy to have you explore our site, especially our mastermind group program, if you'd like to learn more about that. Okay? All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.